In the beginning, there was no such thing as team sports. You see, God, great team captain that he is, created a bunch of really good stuff in 1 week, but he didn't create sports. There were dinosaurs, there were glaciers, there were cavemen, but there were no sports. Sure, athletic feats had some bright spots in the dark ages, like the ancient Olympics in Greece. But most of these ancient competitions were individual athletic feats of strength. No balls, no bats, no teams. To be fair, humanity had flirted with this concept of team sports or groups of people playing sports. Let's be sure to recognize those unsung sports operators who invented hurling in Ireland, shinty in Scotland, polo in Persia, cujo in China, and a game called Pakatak, played by the Mayans. These were early signs that people needed to play together and play forever. Here in North America, indigenous tribes have been playing a spiritual ball and stick game long before Columbus sailed the ocean blue. The Creator's Game, as it was known by Native Americans, would later be coined lacrosse by French settlers in America. It's considered the oldest team sport played in North America. However, for much of the early part of American history, there was no concept of sports or games. Religion was the main influence in society, and any form of sports was considered an unnecessary distraction. In fact, religious groups have tried to ban sports on Sundays. Now, isn't that sacrilegious? But by the late 1800s, a new movement called muscular Christianity started to support a more active lifestyle. According to Wikipedia, muscular Christianity combined discipline, self-sacrifice, and the moral and physical beauty of athleticism. Muscular Christianity also preached the spiritual value and virtue of sport, especially team sports. Modern team sports, as we know it, really owes a debt of gratitude to an industrial revolution. Huh? Well, let me explain how things went down. And I don't know why Bo Schembechler's on the stage right now. In the late 1800s, the advance of manufacturing led to factories which brought large groups of people to live together in cities. It changed the operating manual for society and communities. Kids started to attend school regularly. Education became a requirement. A child's day became more organized. Not as organized as today, but more organized. The idea of parks started to incorporate playgrounds. These were safe public spaces that provide recreational opportunities for kids to play and for kids to exercise. Give kids some turf and magic happens. Kids start playing with rules. Voila, we have team sports. Sports become scholastic and incorporated into education. In 1903, the New York City established a public school athletic league. Schools began competing against each other. So this is the first time that sports are organized within schools. With that, adults are managing sports for kids with structured planning and curriculum for the first time. These school-based programs had a mission. How do we educate students in physical fitness, character development, and social skills through sport? How do we use sport to encourage teamwork, discipline, and sportsmanship? In the early part of the 20th century, our national love obsession with sports blossoms. President Teddy Roosevelt, a former college boxer, is considered the first jock. He declares that team sports are positive, important, and a great way to teach boys how to work together productively. He says things like, only aggressive sports can create the brawn, the spirit, the self-confidence, and the quickness of men essential for the existence of a strong nation. Sports grows in popularity throughout the country, but then unfortunately the Great Depression gets in the way. Publicly financed youth sports are shut down. Poorer children lose the opportunity to play. Something has to be done. Enter the baby boomer generation. After the Great Depression, social organizations like the YMCA and Boys and Girls Club begin to offer sports programs. National sports associations are created, and pay-to-play leagues grow in popularity and engulf the country. In 1929, Pop Warner Football is created. In 1939, Carl Stadt starts Little League in Williamsport with 3 teams. By the 1950s, there were over 5,000 Little Leagues and an International Little League World Series each summer. At the very same time, new education policies influence youth sports. Educators worry that sports in elementary schools would create too much competition. By the 1960s, the self-esteem movement prolonged organized sports until later ages. This is actually the reason why sports in schools don't start till middle school. Combine these factors, and it leads to youth sports path that creates within local community programs that feeds into middle school and high school sports teams. It works well for a while. Just ask your favorite baby boomer about how great their sports career was growing up. Two important government policies would also have a profound effect on how sports is organized. First, let's talk about Title IX. Up until the early 1970s, sports was mostly organized exclusively for boys. Title IX is passed as a federal civil rights law as part of the Education Amendment of 1972. This law protects people from discrimination based on gender in education programs that receive federal financial assistance. So even though the original statute made no explicit mention of sports, the implementation of Title IX across the country helps create gender equality in school athletics. If you build it, she will come. Females flock to sports. By 2006, there was an increase of 9 times in the number of women and girls participating in sports in high school, and by 450% in college athletics. Girls' participation in sports rose from 1 in 27 to almost 40% of all high school girls. At League Apps, we have almost 50% of all of our registrations coming from female athletes today. The other is the Amateur Sports Act. In the same decade, Congress passes this in 1978. It empowers the USOC as the sanctioning of sports-specific national governing bodies, or NGBs. The USOC also becomes the coordinating body for grassroots sports and youth sports in America. But the law doesn't provide any form of funding from the USOC so that it can fulfill its mandate to grassroots sports. The USOC tends to focus on elite athletics and winning gold medals. That's its mandate, not mass participation. This is reinforced in 1988 when the Steinbrenner Commission, yes, that George Steinbrenner, announces that it's all about winning gold. USOC allocates less than 1% of their budget to creating pathways for youth sports and coaches training. A youth sports void is created. Schools don't provide sports until middle school. The organizations tasked with organizing grassroots sports isn't focused on the local communities. It's influenced by financial or federal legislation. So it creates the perfect opportunity for independent organizations, for those who are passionate about sports across the country, to cobble together solutions in their own communities. In the 1990s, youth sports is influenced once again by education, this time college athletic scholarships. A societal and educational trend is that colleges become more competitive. Parents figure out sports is one way to get ahead. Sports can help kids get into college. Sports becomes an investment for parents. Not just an investment of time and passion, but now an investment of dollars. Youth sports becomes a game for which parents are obsessed. Increased competition leads to sports specialization. Our good friend Tom Ferry, a journalist and project play creator, who much of this I've learned from him, in his book Game On writes that prepared childhood was emerging, replacing the idea of the protected childhood that had been promoted for decades since World War II. The goal of creating normal children to fit into society is replaced by the desire to create special kids, ones best prepared to rise above the masses. By the early 2000s, more innovative, sometimes for-profit, youth sports organizations and travel teams have become the norm in most middle-class and affluent communities. Sports is becoming more professionalized and more privatized, fulfilling the insatiable demand of parents. Parents feel the need to make sure their kids have the best possible youth sports experience and are willing to invest in this. Why is this happening? Well, we can think of 75 billion reasons. That's our estimated size of the youth sports economy. Each week, millions of children play sports for some type of organized athletics in every single community in the US and really around the world. This engaged audience is the largest fan base in all of sports, larger than all the sports, professional sports all the professional sports leagues combined in terms of economy and size. So to recap, youth sports has been influenced by 4 major factors: religious beliefs, education reform, societal and parenting trends, and government policy and legislation. And because of these factors, sports has evolved in interesting ways. So with that quick history, where do we go from here? We face an opportunity in youth sports, and that begs the question of, what's next up?
I choose to come to NextUp every year to meet new connections and meet new people to potentially do business with, as well as to see the trends and what's happening or coming in the future with youth sports.
The fact that there is a conference that all the youth sports aficionados can go to and have like-minded conversations and can talk about the good and the bad and the pros and the cons is fantastic. I don't think any other organization that has this sort of technological platform has this sort of realistic platform where we all can be in one place and we can all meet.
Meet like-minded people, be able to see people I work with in person. The biggest thing I take away from it is just feeling inspired, that our work is important, that it is, it's a business like anything else. Nice to have people who are not only like cheering you on, but empowering you to do that better is like, it's a really good feeling. I always leave really inspired to do more work.
Good morning, everybody. There are some seats up here. If anyone wants to make their way up, feel free to do so. Now's a good time. And my name is Jeremy Goldberg. I am the president, and I am the quarterback at League Apps. If Brian is the historian, then you could say I'm the futurist. But we're standing before you in the present.
And we've been waiting the entire year to get back on stage and say.
I mean, some might be saying, Brian, that we've been waiting a millennia.
History of time.
Yes way.
Excellent.
We've been waiting to say, welcome back to NextUp.
So the history of youth sports that I shared reminds us that there's one constant about youth sports, and that is change. It leaves us with these questions. How do we attract and retain kids so they can have positive sports experiences? How do we create participation for all? How do we align the interests of all the stakeholders in youth sports? And how do we create sustainable organizations to provide productive and positive sports experiences in their communities?
Now, when we look around the room and we see the people that are here, we see leaders that are really in a position to provide real answers. But as important, what we see is leaders that care enough to ask the questions to begin with. We take inspiration from this quote from Nelson Mandela. It's been on the wall of every one of League Apps' office. Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand. Sport can create hope where there once was despair. And if sport has this kind of awesome power, then let's remind ourselves of the opportunity and the responsibility that the people in this room have as the people who have the power over sport.
We are here because we believe the power of this community, to better ourselves, to better each other, and to better the world. We have so much in store for you over the next few days, but the best part is the opportunity to connect with each other and learn from each other. That starts right now. So turn to someone next to you, not your partner on your organization, but someone you do not know, and ask them. Introduce yourself, and the two questions are, what are you here to learn, and what are you here to share? So you have 2 minutes, meet someone, and say, what are you here to learn, and what are you here to share? We'll take a selfie.
What's up, buddy?
What up?
You ready? This is great. People came in from a lot of different places. All right, another 30 seconds or so.
Seats if people want to scoot into the middle, if more people stand.
Just mention that. Just mention it. All right. If there's a lot of energy in this room, I'm gonna. All right, let's bring it back in. I can feel the energy in the room. It's palpable, but there's gonna be a lot of time for talking. Shh. All right, so you can feel, Brian. You can feel that energy. I do want to say this because this is what Next Up is all about. All right, Next Up is about all of you, and just take one moment, maybe in silence, and look around the room. Just glance around the room for a second, and just think about the people that are gathered in this room. That the people that are gathered in this room are many of the most influential people in this country that are making sports happen, all gathered in one place. And we started Next Up because in our work at League Apps, we recognized that the central role that people who lead sports organizations play in defining the future of youth sports.
The sports organizations that shape the future will be led by leaders who are committed to learn, innovate, collaborate, and elevate the youth sports experience. We created this space at Next Up because we heard you wrestling with the same questions, ideas, and opportunities. We saw your commitment to develop sports in your community and lead an industry, and we wanted to bring you all together. We also understand the potential to bring key stakeholders into the room, from professional leagues, from technology platform partners, everyone who is passionate about helping make sports happen. And we knew that if we created a place for you to learn from each other, from experts, you would all come. And it is a packed room, so thank you for coming.
You know, Next Up is actually designed for you and actually by you to do just that. You know, over the course of the next 2 days, we have over 80 different speakers that are going to be sharing and be resources in learning. They're going to cover a range of topics, and you're going to hear from experts in youth sports, but you're also going to hear from a lot of people outside of youth sports, like the education industry as a model that we can all learn from. We've also attempted to be intentional about ensuring diversity in all of its dimensions over the course of the next 2 days, but we are also confronted by the reality that there are just not enough women leaders of youth sports organizations in this country. Instead of accepting that reality and talking about that every year, we're proud that we hosted for the first time the inaugural Women in Sports Breakfast this morning. So a round of applause for all that were part of that. And that's just a starting point for doing something about it. We're also going to try to do something new this year, something entirely different. Has anyone here been to a conference that has used open space as a methodology? Oh, wow. You're in for a treat. I see a few hands. I know we did this earlier this year with the NBA. Open space is basically people were organizing conferences, and when they looked at the surveys, they actually realized that people's favorite part about a conference was the coffee breaks, because it was the chance for them to talk about some of the things that they were most eager to talk about. So the whole idea of open space was, how do you design an approach to a conference that was around a coffee break? And so the way this will work is people come with things that they're excited to discuss. Maybe it's something that's been on your mind for a while and that you really want to hear other people's perspective. Maybe it's an idea or a question that's sparked by something you hear over the next day and a half. And then you have the opportunity to literally identify a topic, surface it, and then let anybody else in the room come talk to you and join a conversation about that topic. So it really is a way that all of us contribute to the agenda of the conversation that happens over the next 2 days. So look out for that tomorrow afternoon.
As we design this conference, we have a few winning outcomes for anyone that's attending, and that's what we want to share here. We hope you'll hear an insight on our idea that will inspire you so that you are sharing it with others in your life, bringing it back to your community, helping to improve the sports experience, and using it for years from now. We hope you'll hear practical tips and ideas that you will take back with you and your organizations and act on it today, tomorrow, next week. And we hope you'll meet people that you will stay in touch with, partner with, or even hire or work together with to make sports happen in the future. Here's what we'll ask of you. Help us be a values-driven community. Borrowing a page from our League App Sports Dog values, practice sportsmanship. Show respect for the speakers and your peers in person and online, and recognize the effort and lengths people went to go to be here and to make this event happen. Embrace openness. If it's our chance to both share but also listen and be open to so many different various perspectives, and be a student of the game. We each can learn from each other and teach each other, engage and participate in the community. Speaking of our values, some of you may know that we like to have something called the sports dog. You too can be sports dogs today. So if you find one of these little plush sports dog keychains, you'll not only feel more deeply connected to what it means to be a sports dog, which stands for sportsmanship, passion, openness, results, team, student, game, difference maker, own your role, and grit, but you'll also win a handsome reward or prize. And I'm very proud that I know our values.
You know, the other thing is I want to make sure we acknowledge the partnership of some leading companies that have really made today possible and that serve youth sports in so many powerful ways. I want to call specific attention to Momentic Brands for all their support for this event and the conference, as well as to Game Changer. Ironically, Game Changer's headquarters in New York are in the same building on the 6th floor, and we're excited to have their support as well as Anchor, the Junior NBA, Sports Recruits, Soccer.com, Seat Club, Notch, Chubb, Focus on the Field, and then Athletes Hospitality. So a round of applause for everyone there. During breaks and lunch, I want to encourage you to spend time in the arena meeting with all the companies. A lot of great folks that are here. I also do want to acknowledge the incredible effort that the League Apps team has made to make today possible. You know, we take our responsibility very seriously in this industry. And the role we can play, be it through technology we develop, the partnerships we form, or the communities we connect, is something that we really cherish and that this event really represents. We started NextUp in 2019 because of our mission at League Apps. That mission is to deliver amazing sports experiences for all. A mission that is very much connected to each one of your missions.
I'd like to share a bit about League Apps and why we care about the youth sports mission as much as you all do. As the premier youth sports management platform, we equip leaders like you with the technology, services, and community that you need to maximize your input and grow your organizations. We have a team of 100 plus. Our headquarters are in New York. We have team members all over the country. 70% of our team members were team captains at some point in their life at some type of sports or team organization. And we've been building this for 14 plus years, trying to develop the right solutions to help you make sports happen. We formed our first set of partnerships back in 2010. Since then, we've helped our partners process over 31 million registrations for sport and collected over $5 billion.
You know, and one thing, we're really proud to work with all of our partners that make sports happen for millions of athletes. And we want to take this moment just to show our thanks and our appreciation, because we are so fortunate to partner with so many people that are in this room, and we want to make sure we recognize you. So if you're a partner of League Apps, if you would just take a moment to stand up so we can see you and thank you for being here. So if we work with you at League Apps, stand up now so we can be seen. You're awesome. You know, I just want to make sure, on behalf of Brian and I and the League Apps team, that you understand how much we recognize that you make sports happen in your community. We're really honored to be your teammates. You know, long ago, we decided to not refer to the people we work with as customers. We really view them as partners, because we want to prove through our relationships, our service, and even our business model that we're in it together. You inspire us with your passion, with your commitment to your communities, and you've trusted us to be your teammate, and we take that trust very seriously. We're also proud of the continued innovation we've made in our products and solutions. Later today, I'm going to talk about the trends in youth sports that's driving and animating the way we think about the evolution of our product. And I invite you to go upstairs to the League Apps Lounge and learn more about all the new developments, from League Apps facilities and League Apps analytics to new tournament functionality to advances in mobile apps and club scheduling and more. We're excited of a lot of the developments that have happened this year and what's more to come.
We want to address, there were some important developments at League Apps that happened last week and that we're excited to share today. Last Friday, we announced that we finalized a significant investment into League Apps, led by a leading technology-focused investment firm, Excel KKR, with participation from Arctos Partners, a private investment firm dedicated to the sports industry, And they have ownership in over 25 different professional sports franchises and are recognizing the value of youth sports. And this investment also includes the continued participation of some of our favorite existing investors and youth sports leaders, including Julie Foudy, Shane Battier, Swin Cash, Dahani Jones, and Derek Dockery. We'll have a chance later to chat with Dean Jacobson. He's a partner from AKKR, and Julie Foudy, an existing investors, about their vision for the future of the youth sports industry. So this milestone isn't just about League Apps, though. It's about what we've all accomplished together in partnership with all of you. It's really the story of the success of thousands of youth sports organizations and leaders, many of you who are in this room today. We made the decision to go down this path because we believe it's even more valuable. We can be even more valuable to you. We found investors and partners that are an ideal fit for us to provide more solutions, more technology, better service to youth sports communities. We're better positioned today than ever to sustain what makes League Apps great: our mission, our culture, our team, and our partners.
Now, we're excited not just for our future, but also the promise of this industry. You know, every year on this main stage, I try to encapsulate how we are thinking about the youth sports industry. It's the accumulation of the insights, of the data, the conversations, the perspective that usually results in some major, bold, declarative statement that takes place on the stage that is typically right. And in 2019, the first NextUp, it was months before COVID. This is a statement that I made. We need to start by recognizing that we're in the middle of a profound transformation of youth sports. Our key insight is that the change in youth sports is not only inevitable, but will accelerate, as the future of youth sports will be shaped by technological change, industry consolidation, shifts in parent and kid expectations. The only word missing from that was pandemic, but the gist was right. As much change as we experienced, though, it would actually only accelerate because of COVID. And so in 2022, when we were back together in person, this was the statement that I made, which is that there will be far fewer organizations making sports happen with the potential for more kids than ever playing sports. And this year, that consolidation has only been magnified by the role of M&A, of roll-ups and mergers, franchises, affiliation, new models of association in youth sports. As we said then, when Time published this cover about youth sports, you know, they got the cover right, but they got the story wrong. You see, the sport has to be about kids being kids, but the adults have to be professional. And so at last year's NextUp, we shared our observation that what was happening in youth sports was actually part of a larger process of ongoing change that, as Brian explains, goes back to cavemen and cavewomen. And we introduced our theory of youth sports evolution. Darwin would have been very proud. It was the recognition that youth sports is not a static market, it is a dynamic market, and that it has evolved over time. And most importantly, that we are evolving into a new professional era. So if we bring all that together, the observations over the past number of years, youth sports is experiencing an evolutionary shift where organizations are increasingly led by professionals. Those that recognize it will adapt and thrive. Those that don't will be featured in Brian's history presentation at NextUp 2029. But the professionals in youth sports, the youth sports management professionals, will succeed only if they understand that the very organizations they lead will look very different than the volunteer-led organizations of the past. You see, they are in the field of business. There are some who might wish for a different era, a simpler time of sandlot play. But the problem isn't with the era that we're in. And the problem isn't that youth sports has become a business. The problem is that too many people don't understand what it means to be in the business of youth sports. That's the problem. You see, to be in the business of youth sports is to recognize that the youth sports product is about the development and progression of youth on and off the field in the context of the highest quality experiences. To be in the business of youth sports is to recognize that the customer in youth sports, the parent, is different than the user, the child. And that no business will work if your customer is your problem and not your solution. The business of youth sports, to be in the business of youth sports, is to establish a brand promise, the ability to tell a story that isn't narrowly tied to wins and losses, but broadly connected to all that sports can offer in ways that reset the expectations of families and opens up entirely new ways of delivering on that promise. To be in the business of youth sports recognizes that it isn't enough to be a coach now running an organization, but rather you have to develop the people and the operations that implement a system of learning and development that infuses everything you do. To be in the business of youth sports is to recognize that a focus on revenue and business models are mechanisms for sustainability and reinvestments to make your product great and your outcomes greater. And that value can be delivered and captured far beyond the boundaries of your field and your courts. To be in the business of youth sports is to recognize that we live at a time where technology isn't an expense, but an investment in valuing your time and in scaling your value. The next 2 days are going to be filled with speakers and topics that will tie back to the various dimensions of the business of youth sports, as will the arena conversations and the open space conversations and the people you meet along the way. And while each one of us will bring a different perspective, a different experience to this business that we are in, we are all united in a singular understanding that above all, to be in the business of youth sports is to embrace the responsibility and the opportunity that comes with it. Simply being here today is a demonstration that you get what this is about. That we are fortunate to work in an industry of passion that contributes something larger than ourselves. That we are stewards of the potential to harness the power of sport to not just transform lives, but to transform communities in ways that connect and humanize us in ways that nothing else in our society can. And it's the recognition, the shared understanding that together as an industry, as a community, we can collectively answer the question about what is next up for youth sports. So with that, Brian and I welcome you, and now it's time to get down to business. Thank you.